Hi there, I'm Michelle the Painter, and this is Cookies and Canvas for Kids. All right, so today we're going to be painting Popsicle Pals, and I'm going to be eating my popsicle-shaped sugar cookies. So let's paint our canvas and eat our cookies. All right, so for the materials today, I'm going to be using a stretched and primed 16 by 20 canvas. You can certainly switch up the sizes, but that's what I'm going to use. You can get this at any of your local craft stores or online. I'm going to be using acrylic paint. The colors I'm using are titanium white, fluorescent green, chrome yellow, fluorescent orange, fluorescent purple. This is burnt umber, which you'll hear me refer to as brown, cobalt blue, and Mars black. And of course you can switch those up, but that's the colors I'm going to be using. You're going to need a cup of water for washing your brushes, a paper towel for drying your brushes, and the size brushes I'm using today are, I'm using a 1/2 inch flat bristle brush. I'm going to use a number 8 round brush and a number 1 round brush. I'm also going to be using a number 2 pencil, and the brushes I will refer to as small, medium, and large throughout the process. And of course you can switch those up a little bit, but that's what I'm going to be using. I will also be, in the description below, I'm going to give you text instructions so you can print those out if you want to, as well as a picture of the final painting. And I'm also going to be providing you with a yummy recipe for my delicious sugar cookies that are shaped and decorated like some Popsicle Pals. I'm just going to kind of tip over my creations that I did today, and you'll get a recipe for those. And that is all you're going to need. All right, so what we're going to do for the first step is we are outlining our Popsicle Pals. So I'm going to be making just generic popsicle shapes. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to do a tall oval with a flat bottom and then a stick. So I'm going to make mine in different sizes and maybe at different angles. I'll do my first one kind of in the middle. I'm going to do just a little semi-diagonal horizontal line. And then I'm going to go pretty tall and something like that. And then maybe my next one is going to be a little bit bigger and come up a little bit higher. And you can really, adjust these as you want. We're going to certainly paint over them. So however you want to shape these, it's totally fine by me. And then I'm going to do another one over here. Maybe this one's a really big one. And again, you could have these all of a uniform size, or you could have them, small, medium, and large, like a little family. Whatever works for you is totally fine by me. These are your Popsicle Pals, and if you want to change them up a little bit, that's fine by me. So when you do the stick, you want to kind of have it at the same angle as the popsicle itself. So if this is going like this, I'm going to want my stick to come down like this. And the popsicles that I remember have kind of a rounded bottom, the sticks. So that's how I'm going to do that one. This one, same thing. I'm going to have it coming at this angle, kind of like this. And then just round that bottom. And then same thing with this one. It's going to be at about this angle, come down, and then just round that bottom. And that is all we're going to do for outlining our Popsicle Pals. So for the next step, we're going to use our big bristle brush. So you can get that out and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step, we're using our large bristle brush. We're going to be painting the background. The colors I'm going to use are white and green, but you could really use any colors you want. This is, your painting. I'm going to use mostly white with a little bit of green, and I'm not using any particular brush stroke. I'm kind of circling to start, but you could really use any brush stroke that you want to get this color on here. And I don't pre-mix the color because I want to have some light spots and some dark spots. So I just did green and white there. The next time I went to pick up paint, I picked up just white. So maybe I have a lighter area next, and then maybe the next time I pick up a little bit more green than white, and I end up with a darker spot. So you can have a varying shades of whatever color you want in that background, or you can have one solid color. It's totally up to you. I kind of like the variety, so that's why I don't pre-mix my color, and then that way every time I go to pick up paint, I get a different shade of this vibrant light green. And I am bringing it all the way up to my pencil outline for my Popsicle Pals. So you can do the same. You just want to make sure you bring it all the way to the edge of there. And some people like to paint the edges of their canvas as they go along, so that way when they go to hang up this beautiful masterpiece on their wall, they won't feel the need to put a frame around it. But that's a personal preference. A lot of people, might want to put a frame around it, or you paint it a solid color, totally up to you. But you might notice as I go along, sometimes you might see my brush painting the side, and that's why I'm doing it. And when you get down towards the edges, again, you don't need any particular brush stroke. You just want to get the entire background covered. When you get towards your popsicle stick, you just go right up towards the edge of it. Make sure you go all the way to that pencil mark. Even if you paint over the pencil a little bit, that's okay. Because you'll be hiding that pencil later with the pencil mark when we paint in the popsicle sticks and the bodies of the popsicles. So I'm just kind of cruising along here. Again, you could be using any color you want. Maybe you want yours to be a dark background as opposed to the light background that I'm doing, but it's your painting. This is a really customizable painting. I'm doing the colors that I want, and you can certainly do the same on your end. I can't wait for us to get to the faces because I know that those are really fun, and you get to make those in whatever facial features you want, but we'll get to that fun part in a little bit. Right now we're just kind of taking care of business and getting this background on, and this will be a nice base for the whole painting to kind of feed off of. And you might, maybe you chose to do the orange as that base coat, or, the purple, but I'm just doing this light green because I think it allows the colors on top of it to really pop nice. And I'm almost done here. I just got a little bit more to go over here on the side. And again, I'm making sure I get all the way right up to the edge of the popsicle itself, so that way I won't have any unpainted canvas. I want to make sure I paint the entire canvas. And then before I'm all done, I'm going to give it one more look over, make sure I got all my spots I needed to get. And then we will be switching brushes for the next step. So once you get this background all nice and painted in, you're going to put this large brush away in your water cup, and you'll take out your medium round brush. And I think I am just about set here. So you can put this brush away in your water cup, take out that medium brush, and get ready. Looks like I'm trying to pick a cookie that I'd like to take a bite out of. I'm going to take a bite out of this one. Get ready for your next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step, we're using our medium brush. We're going to be painting the base coats of the popsicle bodies. And the colors that I'm going to be using are purple, yellow, orange, and white. And I'm going to make all of mine different colors, but you could have yours all the same color. It's totally up to you. When I do it, I'm going to be using white with every color. So I'm going to do this one purple. I'm using purple and white on my brush at the same time, and I'm going to just paint it in. So I might choose to have this really bright purple So I would use more purple if I wanted it to be brighter or darker, more vibrant, I guess would be the right word. And I'm going to go right up and make sure that I hide my pencil mark. So I'm going to go kind of slow around those edges. And I'm just using an up and down type brush stroke. But again, the brush stroke isn't terribly important as long as you get the entire popsicle painted in. And again, you want to make sure you cover that pencil mark. So you're just going to kind of go slow around the edge. And you want to just get all the way to the edge. Your popsicle might change shape a little bit during this process, but I'm using a good amount of paint so I can get good coverage on my popsicle. And sometimes the more paint you use on your brush, the easier it is to go along these sides with a nice clean line. And you might, turn your hand, one way or the other. That might help you to get those edges nice and clean. Some people like to turn their canvas over and paint it from the other side because some people work better on the right side versus the left side. So whatever way works for you is fine. And I'm just getting all the way along the edge, and then I'm going to make sure I have the whole thing painted in. And then I'm going to go right on to the next popsicle. So I will wash my brush in between because I haven't pre-mixed the colors, but it's still part of the same step because some of you might choose to do the same color for everyone. So I'm going to do different colors. So I'm quickly washing and drying my brush, and my next one is going to be yellow and white. So I'm going to pick up white with yellow on my brush at the same time, and I'm just going to paint that whole popsicle in. And again, I'm going to paint all the way around the edges, and you might still be able to see a little bit of your pencil through the paint. Don't worry about that because we're going to be adding all kinds of details onto the popsicles later. So you'll have more opportunities to hide any little outlines or any little pencil marks that you might still be able to see through the paint. But if you use white with your color combination, with whatever your color is, the white is going to help to make it so it's not as see-through. So that's definitely one of the benefits to using white in your color combination, is it will help that paint to be more of a solid color, which will help you to cover up any of, or for the most part, cover up your pencil marks. And I'm just bringing this all the way down to the edge, making sure I get the whole thing covered in. And then because I'm going to do a different color for my third popsicle, I'm going to wash my brush in between. And my third one is going to be with orange and white. So I'm going to pick up orange and white paint on my brush at the same time. And I have a good amount on there so I can just kind of mix it all right on the canvas here. And I don't have to reload my brush too often. I just kind of put it in the middle of the popsicle, and I'm just kind of moving it around. And again, I'm going all the way to the edge of my pencil mark so I can cover the pencil mark with my orange paint. And then I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom. Make sure I get this edge over here. And again, you might want yours lighter or darker. If you want it lighter, put more white. If you want it darker, put more of the orange in there. Really, it's going to be a color preference on your part. If you, you could even have just white if you wanted to, but you'd still have to paint them white. So whatever color you choose to do is totally fine by me. I suppose you could even have some really powerful black ones if you wanted to, which might make it a little tough to do your features later, but that's always an option too. These really are personalized Popsicle Pals. You can make them in whatever color you want. And later when we get into decorating them, that's going to be even funner for us. So I've got this all painted in now, and I'm going to use this same brush for the next step, but you're going to want to wash it and dry it in between. So once you get them all painted in, wash and dry that medium brush, take a bite of your delicious cookie, and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step, we're using our medium round paintbrush. We're going to be coloring in the popsicle sticks, and the colors I'm using are brown and white. And I'm going to use brown and white on my brush at the same time, so it almost looks like a piece of wood. So I'm going to just I put both of those colors on my brush, and it's okay if it looks streaky or stripy, because that's what a piece of wood does. And from my best recollection, when I was eating popsicles with these wood sticks, they were in fact pieces of wood. I'm sure some of them are plastic these days, but way back when I used to eat popsicles, they had wood sticks to them. So that's why I'm doing kind of a brown and white kind of stripy look to it. And I'm going to go ahead and do the next one. And I'm getting right up to the colored part of my popsicle itself, so it makes it look like the popsicle stick is inside the colored part. And I'm just going kind of slow, so I make sure that I get all the way around these edges. And you know, some of you might want to use your small brush to do this, but I like using this one because it kind of covers a good amount of area. And it's okay if one of your sticks ends up being lighter than the other or darker than the other. It's okay, because wood has varying shades of lights and darks, so that's going to be all right. That's the beauty of using two different colors on your brush at the same time. You get a good variety of shades of that one color. And you can see I'm just kind of going nice and slow. You can take as much time as you need. We are not on a time clock here, so take as much time as you need to get that full pencil mark covered. And of course I'm just kind of going nice and slow here so I can get all the way around the edges. And then we are going to use this same brush for the next step, but you're going to want to wash it and dry it. So once you get this step done, you can wash and dry this medium brush and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we are using our medium brush, and we're using black paint, and we're doing the first step on the faces, or the first layer of the faces. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to be using black as my base coat for my eyes, so to speak, and the mouths and the eyebrows are all going to be done with black anyway. So I'm just going to use black as my first step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do you can go from one popsicle to the other. These faces are really super fun. What I did when I was thinking of what I wanted to do for these faces is I looked up a whole bunch of emojis. So you can do the same if you want them to be angry or happy or confused. There's all different, ways you can put the eyebrows. So I've chosen to do 2 with eyes, and I've got one with some sunglasses on it. So you can certainly use whatever reference you want. So this one here, he's going to have some big open eyes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the top part of a oval. So top part of an oval, kind of the same shape as the popsicle itself. And then at the bottom part of the eye, I'm going to do this half circle that way. And then I'm going to color the whole thing in black. And then I'm going to do the second eye in the same kind of shape. So I've got the top part of a oval, trying to keep my hand out of the way here, up here. And then the bottom part is just kind of a little curved line. And I'm going to color that in black. I'm going to do a circle for his mouth, like he's like, whoa! He's either talking to you or yelling at you or telling you a joke or something. So this one's going to be a big, huge, just open kind of circle oval thing and just color it in black. And then the eyebrows are just going to be some fun like squiggle marks. So I've got this one kind of like this, and then this one's going to be kind of like a swishy one. And you can see, you can really just put them in whatever direction you want, and they're going to be really fun. Just make sure that you've got this fully colored in with the black. You might need a couple of layers just to make sure that it's nice and clean and it's fully covered in. So the next one, I'm going to do sunglasses, and I want these to be kind of about halfway down the head. So how I'm going to start these is with two large circles that touch each other in the middle, and they're going to be a little bit away from the edges of the face. So I'm going to start one here, and you can color it in. And then I'm going to do, the next one is going to touch it too. It's going to touch it. And I'm going to stay away from the edge of my canvas. So something like that. Then I'm going to just kind of connect these two right here like this. And I'm going to put two kind of like cat eye things out the side. So at the top of here, I'm going to just kind of almost like a little triangle out that side like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. So something like that. And I suppose you could put the arms around, you know, you could extend those just so they go around the head, but I kind of like them almost suspended here like this. And then I'm going to make him have a big, huge kind of crooked smile here. So I'm going to start up here, and then I'm going to push my brush really hard down on this side. Almost like a semicolon kind of mark, or parentheses or something. And then I'm going to just do two curved eyebrows, 1, 2. And then for the next one, my one on the orange, this one's going to be kind of like I'm going to make kind of girl eyes. Again, I'm going to keep it maybe about halfway down is where I'm going to start. These are just going to be circles, and they're going to be a little bit away from each other. So I'm going to start this one maybe right about here. And these are probably on mine the size of maybe a nickel, somewhere between a nickel and a quarter. And then, but it's all going to be depending on how big your popsicle body is. Yours might be huge or tiny, and you might want to have different size ones than me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a couple of little eyelashes. So I'm just going to kind of flick my brush up over in the corner, the top corner of the eyes. Then I'm going to give her a couple of little eyebrows up here and up here. Let me just paint that a little bit more. And then I'm going to give her a little cute mouth like that. And she's got a couple of cute little cheeks like that. And that is going to be all we're going to do on that step. For the next step, we're going to use our small brush. So when you get this all done, you can put this medium brush away in your water cup, and you can take out your small brush and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do next is we are doing the outlines with black for the entire Popsicle Pals. So this is going to include outlines for the hats, anything that we want to put on the heads, the arms, we're going to do those in black. We're going to outline the popsicle stick in black, and we're going to color in the hats and stuff later, but right now we're just putting a nice outline on. So I'm using my small brush. I'm going to use just black paint, and when you do this, if you want thin lines, just don't press hard. If you want thick lines, then press hard. So when I'm going to start with the hats, and you can do any hats you want. You could do a baseball hat or a cowboy hat or a fun knit hat with a pom-pom on the top, or you could do bows or ponytails or clown hats, whatever you want to do, you can certainly do. So I'm going to put a cowboy hat on this guy. Yeehaw! So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to, right now I'm pushing my brush pretty hard because I want kind of a wide line for this bottom part of the hat. But if you want a thinner line, you can certainly, you know, not press so hard. And I put it coming into his head a little bit. And then at the top, I'm going to kind of do something like this. And for the cowboy hat, I'm not going to color it in. I'm just going to do a black outline, and I'm going to color it in later with whatever color I want to. And we'll get to that later. So now that I have his hat, I'm going to just go do my hats first, and then I'll get into the other details. So this one here, I'm going to make like a fun clown hat that has this little propeller thing on the top. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of do something like this in through here. Then I'm going to outline the head itself, something like this. And again, you can have fun with the hats. You can even look them up on the internet and decide what kind you want to do for yourself. This is going to have something like this. And then it's got these propellers, so it spins around. I'm not quite sure if I did it exactly right, but I think that looks pretty fun. And then I think they also have, these type of hats have some stripes going down them. So we'll color those stripes in later. And then for this one, I'm gonna make her like, I don't know, like she's a workout girl and she's got a headband on and maybe she's so hot from working out, the top of her head is melting a little bit. So I'm gonna start with a headband and I'm gonna put black paint here. I'm gonna curve it a little bit so it looks like maybe the popsicle is a little round, just like I did for this hat here. And then I'm gonna do a top line and just curve it just a little bit. If your lines aren't perfect, don't worry about it. You're gonna be able to disguise them a little bit when we go to color it. So don't worry if it's not perfect. I'm gonna do a little melty drop here. So this is gonna look like a little teardrop, something like that. And then I'm gonna do like a wiggle mark down the head. This is going to be the melty part. And then I'm going to put a bow on the top of her head. So what I do is I'm going to put a little circle like this. I'm going to put two little circles on the side, or little ovals. And then I'm going to put two bigger ones around that. Something like that. And then I'll do another one over here. And again, don't worry if your lines aren't perfect because you'll be able to do, you know, all kinds of other stuff later. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline the body for each one. So again, I'm just using black paint and my small brush, and I'm going to take it and I'm just going to bring an outline. And this is going to hide all of your pencil marks that you had along the edges. So this step sometimes takes a minute or two just to make sure that you get the whole thing. Again, when you go down at the bottom, make sure you go all the way across where that popsicle stick is. And I'm just kind of outlining the whole thing. If you feel it starts to run out of paint, just reload that brush. That makes the outline easier. I'm gonna go finish this one over here. And if you come to a point where you want to reshape them, now's the time to do it. Maybe you want yours to be a little bit skinnier. You could make that black line thicker. That'll make it look a little bit skinnier. I'm going to go all the way across the bottom. And if you need to, I'm not sure if I said this, you could add a touch of water to your paint. That's going to make that paint flow a little bit easier for you. And again, I'm just kind of getting this all the way down to the end. Missed a little spot over here. And then same thing with her. So this black outlining step does take a few minutes, but it is a great part to the painting, and it cleans up all your little edges and makes everything really pop out, because we definitely want our Popsicle Pals to pop out of our canvas. And then I'm going to go right across the bottom and over here. Again, just kind of right in the edge of that popsicle itself. And if your lines are a little wobbly, don't worry about it. It just is going to make it look like your popsicle is melting a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my arms. So the arms are super fun. You could have your arms way up in the air like it's jumping for joy or serious and they're on their hips, or you could have them out dancing, or one could be up and one could be down. You could really have them whatever way you want. Like he's, you know, dancing, he's doing like the, you know, 9 to 5, or I don't know, the old Fever, Saturday Night Live Fever dance. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have this guy, his are going to come up. So I'm about halfway up the body. I'm just going to do a line and a couple of straight fingers. These do not need to look like real people hands, so just have fun with it. So this one I'm going to have coming up here. Maybe yours has muscles. You could put some little muscles on it. You can have yourself a really super fit kind of little Popsicle Pal. This one, the hands are going to be on the hips, so I'm going to put it kind of out like this and here. And then maybe I'll have a couple, you know, little pieces coming off the edge. Same thing, this one's going to be on my popsicle hips, because I know all popsicles have hips, last time I checked. And then this one, maybe she's going to be, you know, she's exercising, so her hands are just kind of flailing out a little bit here. Maybe she's doing a little ballerina dance or something. She's, you know, showing off her little outfit that she's wearing. So you can really just have fun with it. And the last thing I'm going to outline is the popsicle stick itself. So I've just got black on my brush, and I am just putting a solid black outline right around my popsicle stick. And then after you get this step all done, we are going to switch brushes to our medium brush. So you can put this small brush away in your water cup when you get this all nice and done, and you'll take out the medium brush and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step with our medium brush is we're putting confetti dots all over the canvas. So one, it's going to make it look nice and festive, like they're having a party. But two, it also will tie all of these colors together. So I have, I'm going to be using yellow, orange, and purple. You could use any colors you want, but those are the colors I'm going to be using. And I'm going to use a ton of paint on my brush, and I just kind of bounce it off. You can certainly, you know, sit here and make perfect little marks if you want to. Totally up to you, but I'm kind of more of a chaotic confetti maker. You can see there, I just made a big one that just kind of spilled a little bit, but no big deal. And I'm gonna make some large dots and some small dots. They can be messy, they can be neat. I'm not gonna wash my brush, I'm just gonna pick up some orange. So now I have orange and purple on my brush at the same time. And again, this is your painting. So you might want this to be, maybe you want white dots. You could have black dots. You could really have no dots if you wanted to. It's, you know, up to you how you want this to be represented. I just picked up a little bit of yellow on my brush now. And again, I'm not washing my brush, but if you're finding your colors are mixing together and making a color that you don't like, you can certainly wash your brush. It's totally up to you. You can make some little tiny ones in between. whatever floats your boat. This is your painting. You can make little tiny clusters. Really, it's totally up to you. I like having some little tiny ones. It's almost like they're like little fireworks popping out all over the place. And that's, I think, all I'm going to do for that step. We are going to use, let's see, what are we going to use next? Let's use our small brush for the next step. So when you get these dots all nice and done, you can put this medium brush away in your water cup and take out your small brush and get ready for the next step. All right, so this is a really fun step. We're going to be finishing the faces on the Popsicle Pals. I'm going to use my small brush. The colors I'm going to be using are white, blue, and green. And how I'm going to do this, I'm going to start with white, and I'm going to do this guy here first, and I'm going to outline the top portion of the eyes. So I have white paint on my brush. I'm outlining the top portion of the eye. So this is also a time where if you could use this outline to clean up the edges if you wanted to. And you can have this thin or thick, doesn't matter. Whatever visually works for you is fine by me. I'm just getting, you can see I go slow when it comes to these little details. And once I do the outline of these eyes, I'm going to still use white paint, and I'm going to put 2 sparkle dots. So I'm going to put maybe a big one there and a little one there. And then when you go to do the other eye, do them in a similar spot. So a big one there and a little one there. So that's all I'm going to do for that guy. I'm going to go on to this one. And I said just white, but you might need a little black too. What I'm doing is I'm putting the glass, so to speak, on the sunglasses. So I have white on my brush. I'm going to wipe my brush off on my paper towel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these little highlights at the top of the glasses. And then I'm going to use my brush and I'm just going to rub in a little bit of white. So now if that goes too white on you, what you do is you just pick up a touch of black and a little bit of white, and that will help to dull it down a little bit for you. That'll make it so it's not as white. So you're in essence kind of adding a little bit of gray to it as opposed to just white. So start with a touch of white, and if that goes wrong on you, then just add a little bit of black. And that's all I'm going to do on the sunglasses. And then I'm going to move on to the little girl over here, and I'm going to be using white, blue, and green on my brush at the same time to add the color part at the bottom of her eyes. So I'm putting all 3 colors on, blue, green, and a touch of white. And I'm going to do almost like a crescent at the bottom of her eyes, but I'm going to leave a little bit of black at the bottom. So here I go. I'm going to start up on one side. And that's pretty white, so I think I'm going to add a little bit more blue and green to it. So I want her to look like she's got a pretty color in her eye. There you go. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye. And if yours goes too much in one color that you don't like, you can always just wait for it to dry a minute, and then you can, kind of adjust the color after that. And then what I'm going to do once I get the colored part on is I'm going to quickly wash and dry my brush. I'm going to put a couple of sparkle dots in her eyes, similar to this one. So I'm going to put one big one here and a little one here and a big one here and a little one there. And that's all I'm going to do for that step. I'm going to switch brushes to my medium brush for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for this step is we're going to finish the headpieces or the hats or whatever you put on top of the heads. So I like to use multiple colors on this. So I'm actually using all of my colors. I've got, yeah, I'm going to use all my colors. Even at the end, I might use the black and the white as a little highlight on the end of here. So how I'm going to do this, you can use whatever colors you really want. I'm going to start this one with blue, green, and white. And in the middle of the hat, I have all three colors on my brush at the same time. I'm making polka dots. So I just want this to be a fun color, and I want it to have some texture to it. So I'm choosing to use the blue, the green, and the white, and I'm just filling this in with polka dots. You could do a solid color, you could do stripes, whatever works for you. Just bring it all the way to that black edge so there's no part that's unpainted on it. And if you go too much into your black edge and you don't like what you did, you can certainly come back and redo that outline. But the outline was just meant to give a nice definition around the exterior of the hat. So it doesn't matter if, you bump into it or not. And I'm just going to kind of color this whole thing in. And if you wanted to use this color combination anywhere else, you don't have to wash your brush. I'm actually going to use it in one more spot. I want to put it in one of, maybe two of these stripes on this hat. So I just kept that color combination. And I'm doing the same technique, which is just kind of filling this in with some polka dots. And I'm going to do maybe one more little section like this. And I might put some in his propeller too. So you can really have fun. You can take these colors and make them into whatever you want. I'm going to do maybe every other one's going to be this blue and green color. And if you're going to switch color combination, just wash and dry that brush. Let's see, what else am I going to do here? I think I'm going to do in here, I'm going to do maybe, let's do white and, I'm going to do white. I think that's the color I'm going to use. So just white. And you could dot it or color it, whatever you want to do. And you just saw, I just kind of picked whatever color I wanted to do on the fly. It's totally up to you. You can have as much fun with this as you want. Maybe your Grammy made you a knitted hat when you were a little kid and totally dug the colors on that. So you're going to make this look exactly like that knitted hat that you wore, every time you went out to build snowmen. You can, just have fun with this. I'm carrying this white right up into the hat. Maybe I'll do a little button in the middle. And then let's see, I think I'm going to do white and yellow for this part of her head. And I'm just kind of dotting this in. You could, I suppose, do a smoother stroke. Totally up to you. I just like this textured kind of look, even though this is, meant to look like this part is melty. It's okay. I'm just having fun painting whatever way I want to paint. And then because this part is kind of connected to this little thing, I want to do that the same color combination. So white and yellow. Just kind of painting in this little drop of melty part. I think I'm going to do her headband a different color. I think I'm going to do that maybe purple and white. So I'm picking up purple and white on my brush. I did wash my brush between these two. And I'm just going to kind of dot this all the way across. And if your black line is too thick for you, now's the time to kind of make it more narrow by just coloring it with more paint. So you can just hide some of that black line with paint, which is always a nice, easy fix. And again, I'm using quite a bit of paint on my brush and just making these polka dots. And then I'm going to change colors for her bow on the top of her head. So I got my purple and white there. I'm washing and drying my brush. I'm going to do green and white for her bow. So I just washed and dried my brush, green and white. So we've got green and white on my brush. I think I want a little more green. There we go. Maybe I'm just going to do green. I think I want it to be darker than the background. So I just got rid of the white off of my brush and now I'm just doing green. And this green is really see-through, so even if you paint it over on top of the black, you'll still see that black underneath there, which is great because you don't have to worry about staying in the lines. And then I think that's gonna do it. Let's see, what else we got? I think that's it. So we have oh, no, wait, let me finish this hat. I do want to finish the highlight on my cowboy hat. So I've got my brush I just washed and dried. I'm putting white and black on it. I want to put like a little highlight at the top of it. So white and black. That puts a little highlight at the top and maybe a little bit at the tippy top here. And again, you don't necessarily have to do these kind of little things, but I like adding these little extra things. And all right, so that's going to conclude that step. We have one final step of any good painting, and it's going to be done with the small brush. So when you get done finishing your heads, you can wash and dry your small brush, take a bite of your cookie. I think I'm going to switch cookies here and take a bite of this guy and get ready for the next step. All right, so on to the final step. I'm going to be using a small brush. I'm going to be using black paint and I'm going to be signing my painting. So if you want, again, you can add a touch of water into your paint. That's going to make it like an ink consistency. Sometimes that makes it a little bit easier. I usually sign mine in the bottom left or the bottom right, but you can sign yours wherever you want to. I'm going to do my initials. You could do your full, whoops, there goes my brush. You could do your full name, you could do the date, you could do, a symbol. Some people like to write a word. So really, whatever you want to put, this is your mark. You have fun with it and make it into your own painting. And that's going to conclude this painting. I hope you enjoyed the process. I hope you made your popsicles come to life with a whole bunch of fun faces like I did. And I hope you enjoyed whatever cookies you were snacking on. And I look forward to painting and eating cookies with you again sometime.
Yum yums.